Okay.
She was supposed to come.
Okay, now one start with me. Mm, mm, I don't see you, Neo.
Yeah, send me the thing.
Text me something so I can find you.
Picture of name of it.
Yeah, I'm already just doing live. You gotta go over there so you can see me there. If it's not, if he stop, go over ahead and make sure that. Okay, we're about to start. Okay, so I'm gonna send a link to the other guy too. Let me send a link to another guy. Mm, mm, fuck, focus. Mm, mm, Okay, we can start. So we can start. You can unmute your.
I'm ready.
Okay, let's begin with I'm gonna talk about a little about Elizondo's book, which was leaked, quote unquote. Some the book talks about different 20 has 25 chapters, but I'm particularly interested on the second one, chapter number 2, which talks about colares. And even in the introduction, it says, like he says that specifies that these UFOs are flown by non-human intelligence, but he says that the more likely hypothesis about who's flying these UFOs are extraterrestrial creatures. That's he said that's the more likely hypothesis. Even Chris Mellon says that the most likely hypothesis about the non-human intelligence is that they're extraterrestrial. And we see that some other people they have their own theories if they're extraterrestrials, if they're humans from the future, or if they are angels or demons. But at the end of the day, those people that have seen the data, like Luis Elizondo, Chris Mellon, they come to the same conclusion after looking at all the data. They say, yeah, this is physical beings with advanced technology, that they are from an extraterrestrial nature. So they cannot, in this book especially, they say like, all this leads to the hypothesis of the extraterrestrial hypothesis. So they don't mention any other hypothesis, in the introduction, especially, they focus on more likely after they have seen, the physical evidence, all the satellite images, the radar telemetry. They have seen like, yeah, they're coming out of space. They're not coming you know, from the ground itself. They come first from space and they go under their bases, underground and under the ocean. So that they're very clear now. They give us in this book. He's being very clear. If you understand, you have a common sense. You understand that this is an ET presence that we're facing. An introduction, he reminds us, that we have two choices. What's the motive of this presence? It's either it represents a physical threat for aerospace travel, or in the worst case, represents an existential threat for humanity as a whole. Either way, he says it's not good. In no part of the introduction, he focuses on like, oh, maybe it's humans from the future, or maybe it's our space brothers. He's very clear. This represents a threat, and we should deal with it. We can always try to kind of sugarcoat it and more like try to hug, welcome our space brother. But I have seen, he has seen a lot of information, a lot of research that we haven't seen yet, but he's giving us, kind of pointing us, give us some breadcrumbs, and Colores is one example of that. That he wants us to get to see in the first chapter what's his role really about, what's encapsulated in Colares, Uh, Vishal, can you talk about what are your thoughts about, about Colares after watching the documentary?
Well, my thoughts are it's very scary to believe. If this is true, it's very scary, and I think people should start taking it more serious, especially if there's proof out there. The History Channel, a channel which I trusted for years, have said that they did DNA tests and they have found they claim that these people, when they check their DNA, is 70% human and like 30% unknown, and I think that's like proof that we have hybrids among us, but. We need although we have the evidence, we need people to believe, and people, although we have the flying ships and stuff, like David Crush, to a Navy admiral, they went to the Congress and they said how they saw these UFO ships, and these are two admirals. I'm pretty sure they wouldn't lie, and they wouldn't go up to Congress, and they swear to God it was real, and they said they tried to shoot it down, but the technology they had was beyond this world. And I think that although like humanity is not paying attention what's happening right now with the UFOs, they're busy with election and stuff. They should start taking it a little more serious because you don't know what's gonna happen sooner or later.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Especially now with elections, there's a lot of distractions.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think that it's by design. Like they're showing a lot of stuff so it can pull our attention to different directions, except for what we're really focusing on, which is that whatever is flying in our skies, going into our oceans, going into the mountains, whoever is coming in and out of the oceans, whoever is going into space. So there's a lot of distractions, and even in the UFO Twitter community, we see a lot of hypotheses flying around. When we start getting more data that is pointing to some direction, even during the ATIP, with Elizondo, he managed to declassify the videos, and he managed to kind of sneak out some of the biological effects of these UFOs on humans. That was, he warned that this very stubborn, if you get to know, it's very stubborn, like very green, but still, with some hope.
I mean, the evidence is out there. People just need to start paying attention because the scientists has showed the Nasdaq mummies, and I'm pretty sure all the scientists wouldn't lie. They have shown to prove that they weren't from this earth. And the admirals from the Navy, like three admirals that went up to Congress, and they said they have seen aliens with their own two eyes, and they have seen the ship and what it can capable of, and it's beyond this world. And that should be like enough proof. It's not enough proof to say yes, alien exists, but there's something out there. It's not from this world, and people need to like start open their eye and pay attention what's happening.
Yeah, I mean, like especially now, with we supposedly have, according to David Grush, we have 40 whistleblowers, but yet very few are coming out, in the public, like David Grush, like Elizondo. There's a lot of stigma too. There's a lot of fear that people kind of, they have a choice. In the book, Elizondo talks about how he had to give out, some comfort and security for fighting for disclosure, for the truth. He mentions that he had to, at the time he had to spend, live with his family in rat-infested hangars or RVs, like, because he had to put principle over, a pension, over, a promotion, over rank. I guess that's one of the things that is preventing the dam to burst, with all these more whistleblowers, firsthand, researchers to come out, because either they get intimidated or they get seduced into just keeping quiet, like we see with Stratton and with Dr. Travis, that they're trying to protect their own assets because they don't want the government, in the law of Schumer's rounds, law that was trying to pass Congress. Dr. Travis from the Skinwalker Ranch and Stratton, both of them lobby to come to stop and diminish this law from passing. They got it out, because they don't want the government to take their stuff they're working on in Skinwalker Ranch. But the thing is, they don't realize is that this humanity has a right to know. We have to put country or humanity over profit. This is very important to keep it, under wraps.
I agree with what you said. Humanity has a right to know what's going on in their country. But here's the thing. There's like CIA. Well, according to research and paper, I'm quoting what I heard. According to CIA, they're covering this up. They don't want the world to know. But why don't they want the world to know what's happening? This is like I would trust you to answer this question because you have more experience than me.
Yeah, I mean, like, especially in the book, Elizondo is very, very emphatic, and you know, on the he's very emphatic, with Chris Mellon, that the who's behind the cover-up is the U.S. Air Force and the CIA. Both of them working together, to keep this a secret for 80 years, and
Well,
we can go ahead.
okay, go ahead.
And we can see the CIA's involvement in the Brazilian, government during that time. They helped to establish this kind of dictatorship that was under the control. And then during the their investigation down there in Brazil, even during the Virginia and the Colares, the CIA was calling the shots. Really, they were the guy providing the expertise, telling them what to do. And we saw that at the beginning of the investigation, the Brazilian Air Force went directly to the doctor, to the Times doctor, and tried to kind of like tell him to go along with the cover story, but she refused. She's like, I will not want to lie. I will not want to announce that this is just a hysteria or it's just something in the minds of people, because I'm seeing people getting physical injuries, some physical manifestation. They're having attacks, having injured. And she says, I will not go along with this, and I will just stand for the truth. But we saw some.
So this is a question I have to ask you. So there's claim that the aliens are living under the water. Do you have an idea which underwater? Like, people are not allowed to go to Antarctica. Do you think there's aliens in Antarctica? Because there was an admiral in the Navy that said they said something was going in Antarctica, and they sent him, and he said he found aliens over there, but they were friendly aliens. Do you think there's aliens in Antarctica, or will he discover something else?
Well, I mean, like you're talking about Admiral Byrd,
Yes,
but
Admiral
then
Byrd.
again, we cannot, I'm sure there's something going on, because there's some restrictions over who flies over the Antarctica, and only you have to have special permission to go to Antarctica, even though it's an international, by treaty, international treaty by the UN, it's an international territory. But if you wanna go there, that's not really the case. You have to have a permission from the US or from Russia or some other of the big players, because you by itself, you cannot go by
Do you
yourself.
think they're hiding something very secret from the citizen?
Well,
From
I'm
the
sure there's something going on, but for that we need more concrete evidence.
That's true. We need complete evidence. But don't you think like America is like not paying attention what's happening on the UFO and stuff? They need to start paying a little more attention. Like for the people that's watching the video, like they probably have an idea what's going on. Like if you put the detail together, you put the evidence, because the Nasdaq mummies are evidence, because the scientists are showing they're not human. They have shown their body, they're showing their finger. That should be like enough evidence that alien was here. But right now there's claims that there's aliens right here underneath water and they're cloning people, right? There's also evidence, because if you watch a History Channel, like I said before, they said they would take people blood, and 7% was like human and 30% was unknown, and they said that these aliens genetically clone these humans. But there's proof, like as a History Channel show. But what do you think will get society to believe like what's going on, like to get them to open their eye more?
Well, we have to go around, because if we follow what Chris Mellon and David Grush have said, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign carried out by our own government, be led by the U.S., Air Force and the CIA. So
you
what
said
they do,
led by the U.S. Air Force and CIA, but do you like not to disclose any name or anything, not to call anything? Do you think like the president, like anybody in the office, no, don't call any name or anything? Do you think people like those are involved in this, like they know what's happening, or they don't know?
It depends on the president. If they have been part of the establishment before, like W. Bush, he was part of the CIA before he became president. But if you are new to to Capitol Hill, they will just keep you in the dark, to be honest. Like they will just, okay, in 4 years you'll be gone. You don't need to know. Even if you ask, Bill Clinton and Carter, both of them asked the CIA and NASA. They were like, "What's going on with the UFOs?" And the NASA and the CIA came back to them like, "You don't have the right to know, so don't ask again." So we
Well,
see.
I start to cut you off because when David Scott speak to the Congress, they said they requested the UFO information from the Army, and they denied to give them the information. And the Congress said they are supposed to be taken. The Army is supposed to be taking order from the Congress, but now the Congress is taking order from Army, but it's not supposed to be like that. So the Army is withholding information to the Congress about UFOs.
Well, that's the point of the new round Schumer reintroduction of this law. They know they're getting some close hearings with whistleblowers that there's something's going on. But yeah, when they go and ask the Department of Defense, through Arrow, there's nothing to see. These guys are just delusional, that they're just part of a religious sect. There's nothing, but they're getting conflicting, accounts, and they're getting more evidence from the whistleblowers that something's going on. So they want to force some disclosure, but we see this cover-up faction is very entrenched, in the intelligence community, in government, in the military industrial complex. It's very entrenched. So they're resisting, by having congressmen in their pockets, so
Well,
they can kill
everyone
any.
although people haven't seen the alien, everyone said there's something out there. They don't know what it is. They don't want to say it's alien because they say something out there from the President Trump, President Biden. They all said there's something out there. They don't know what it is, but they haven't seen the alien itself. There's people that seen the alien ships, but they don't know if it's alien. They just say it's UFO. But like people want to see like the actual aliens and stuff to get them believe. Do you know like any idea how to get like to persuade people this is more real, like to get them to come to light? Because everyone believe there's something out there, but they don't know what it is. Some people just believe it could just be like someone take these technology and re-engineer them. Like
Well, yeah, you have seen the effects of the disinformation campaign throughout the years. The CIA, the Air Force have ridiculed, have thrown out a lot of conspiracy theories to muddy the waters. So people, they lose interest, or if they are interested, they let to follow, the wrong scent, so they redirect it. So there's a lot of decoys being thrown into the UFO community, agents being infiltrated into our community, to tell a story that they know is gonna drive the people's attention into the wrong direction.
if aliens are here abducting people, why do you think the CIA want to hide it? Doesn't the public have a right to know what's going on? Or do you think like the public is not ready to like hear about aliens? Do you think this was like shock them? This would like change the course of history? Why do you think the CIA though just doesn't want to tell the truth what's going on? Why do they want to
Well,
hide this?
well, we have to specify when we say that the CIA and the U.S. Air Force and the government, we're not talking about 100% of those institutions. We're talking about a raw, illegal faction within those organizations that have colluded, to kind of be the voice of humanity as a whole. So those are the ones when David Roach talks about that the U.S. has made, has made secret agreements with this ET presence. He's not talking about the president signing, necessarily the president signing a paper. He is talking about this faction of destroying the cover-up, composed by the CIA agents. Not all of them, a specific group, and in the in other government offices, institutions that have made these secret agreements. But 90% of the government, of the elected officials, they don't have no idea of what's going on.
Do you believe like the entire CIA is involved or only like a fraction?
It's a very small fraction. That some people have revealed this is more office. The office of some foreign.
And the small fraction, do you think they hold high position in the CIA or small position like regular people, or they're like someone powerful in the CIA that can like dictate stuff? Like, do they have control over the CIA director and stuff? Can they make decision, or they're just normal people in the CIA?
No, they're like long time incumbents. People have spent decades in the CIA, so they kind of, quote unquote, they kind of know where the skeletons are. So they have more power than anyone else because they have the power to confiscate. They have the power to to kind of force people to shut up, to go away, to use money, So all our money that we the Congress gives to the Department of Defense, as to be black budget, it's end up in the hands of this cover-up faction, and they use those funds to infiltrate people in the in the info community, to pay debunkers, to pay disinformation agents, to pay producers, editors in newspapers, in TV programs, in the news. So they kill any mention of this what we're talking about. So they're trying to restrict.
So I have a question. This is a question you might not be able to answer. So in 1933, there are claims that a UFO crashed in Italy. Do you still think the Italians possess the alien spaceship that crashed in 1933?
Well, according to David Grush, that's when he started the cover-up star. in Italy. You know, when they recovered the UFO that crashed in Italy. But
Do you
he
think?
says they
Do you think? Do you think the CIA ever unlock any of these alien gadgets? Like, do you think they opened the spaceship, or was too advanced technology beyond them?
well, from what I heard from the people that know, you know, they say they have opened some of them, but they don't know how it works. It's so advanced, and it used some neurological interface, maybe telepathy that we still don't know how to, you know, don't have those skills yet. So you can
When you
have a
said
gadget,
telepathy, what do you mean by telepathy?
you know, with your brains, with your thoughts, you know, like
Oh, with your
interface with
brain.
your thoughts.
Uh,
You know, like you don't have to press any buttons or any controls. Like it's your brain that brains that interface with those, you know, those machines. You know, that because they're sophisticated.
So there are stories people said they have come in contact with aliens and stuff. Uh, do you think those people are like when they come in contact with aliens? How come you think those aliens didn't kill them, but they managed to get away, but the rest of them were adopted and brainwashed?
Well, you know, that's the question. According to what I have read, these are most people that are abducted or are like abduction victims. Most of them they don't remember, you know, that they were adoption victims. They because their memories were so you know so meddled with that they don't remember. You know, they just remember that they went to sleep, or they just remember that they couldn't remember why they're there, or like most of the people that have been abducted, they claim that they saw a light and they don't remember what happened in the next 3 to 4 hours. They just wake up like what happened? You know, I don't remember what happened in the you know the past 4 hours as one of the
Okay. Who's a? Let me ask you a question. How hard do you think it's gonna be to catch one of these aliens, or shoot their ship down, or actually catch a live one to show the public? How do you think hard that is gonna be?
well, according to the, you know, to David Grush, it's already happened. You know, the U.S. government has recovered a lot of bodies of you know ETs and
Of ET, but
spaceships.
did they kill these ETs themselves, or these ET like crashed or something?
Well, from what I heard, from my understanding, is that most of them they were dead during the crash, or they died later on. You know after spending too much time in our planet, you know, in the atmosphere.
Okay, I heard that the aliens cannot leave their spaceship. If they leave their spaceship, they're gonna die because they're not used to our air. Is that true?
Well, you know, you can see now with the COVID, you know, actually, you know, like the biologist Jose Rios was supposed to join us, but he has COVID, so he's recovering from it. So now we see, you know, we're natives to this planet, but we still get affected by a lot of viruses, bacteria, like the flu. You know, we have been battling the flu since time immemorial, since the caveman, and the flu still, you know, fuck us up, you know, kind of, you know, saying like always make us really sick. Just imagine someone that's not from this planet, even with advanced technology, they cannot survive long term in our planet because there's a lot of biological hazards. You know, even the air, the water, you know, it can be poisonous to them because they're not native, you know, to this planet. You know?
How much aliens do you think are here? A lot or just a couple?
Well, I mean, you know, I think, you know, from what David Grasher said, you know, the government has made, you know, agreements with some group of ETs, but I don't think they have taken over. Other if they had taken over completely, we wouldn't be able to have this conversation. They would be able to shut us down a long time ago. So, from what I understand, it's a group, but it's powerful, but it's not that great a number, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, but let's talk about the Virginia case. You know, it's very interesting that Luis Elizondo, on his book, right away, you know, open up with Virginia, with you know, with the colares, you know, case. And I was talking to the, you know, to the biologist Jose Rios, and he said that's very curious because that shows, you know, that they, you know, he has, you know, really good evidence to kind of speak about this case in his book. You know, like he has seen a lot of evidence behind closed doors, and even the Brazilian government has. It was a Brazilian government operation that was classified until the 1990s. So this is a very, you know, airtight case. You know, we have
I
medical
mean,
records from.
don't you think the Nasdaq mummies is enough evidence to prove that aliens exist? The bodies they recover, and almost like over 10, like almost a lot of scientists examine the bodies and they prove that this is not fake. and these bodies weren't from Earth, don't you think that's enough proof to show the humankind that there's something out there here?
Well, I think it's a good, it's a great beginning, but now we're struggling with a disinformation campaign, with the bunkers, But I think we're getting, we're gaining ground now, that now that this this news about the Nazca mummies that was relegated to the fringe of of the internet, before, it was they were discovered in 2016, but then it didn't start getting traction until Gaia and Jaime Maussan joined the investigation. But then again,
Why do they call them mummies? But if they're aliens, why can't they just call them alien instead of mummies?
well, they want to be kind of like, they want to take it easy on people that will freak out, like, and they're not really mummies. They're desiccated bodies where they have their organs still inside. So they're going through a process of trying to authenticate them. So they call it, oh, let's call them mummies. But in reality, they're desiccated bodies, which 3 fingers, 3 toes, big head, 30% bigger than human beings, the humanoid ones, and the 60%, the 60 centimeter mummies, the are small ones. Well, they don't have anything in common with us, with any human creature in our in any living creature in our planet. They don't have any in common. They, their fingerprints. There's no record fossil of them prior or after. So now the DNA test coming up from Canada, they're showing up that they're like artificially made, like especially Maria, but they couldn't possibly be the natural. There was a natural hybridization or something happens with a mule when the horse and a donkey mix. That's a natural hybridization. But and that Dr. Rangel was asking, in the morning on the interview, was like, it's very difficult to believe that 5 primates from Africa came together in Peru, with a Chinese guy, and they actually miraculously came together, like, it's like there's someone made this creature. It's a hybrid, an artificial hybrid,
So
we
when you think when they engineer human beings with like animal stuff, what you think it's very successful? Like they said that aliens engineered a lizard creature. Some people out there said they swear to God they're not making up. They have seen these little creatures. They're like humanoid lizard. Do you think that was artificially engineered by the aliens?
Well, we should always follow that data. We can always speculate, but that's one of the things about what's keeping this, from advancing, in a serious way, because there's a lot of hypotheses, like we see that people are claiming they're human from the future, or they're, interdimensional or crypto-terrestrials, but we know this fact. We know that Nazca moments are real. We have DNA tests, carbon 14 tests. We have histology, comparative anatomy. A lot of tests that have run, and they have standard tests of time and scientific inquiry. So we know that the Nazca moments are real. So now
We
we
know
get
that
into
Nazca
what.
mummies are real, but what we know, like the mummies are real. The scientists have proven them. They did the examination. It showed that it's not like made up. It's not like someone had made this up. It shows that they existed. But we need proof. Like we need like more solid proof to prove to the world now that what we're talking about, like the aliens living underwater and they here creating hybrids. If we put if like what proof can we show the world to make it more solid and make them believe more? You think if we show them a spaceship or alien, they will believe more?
Well, I think that would be really help. But then the bodies too, because David Grush in Congress and in interviews say that the U.S. has, well, not the U.S. per se, that faction of the cover-up, has the bodies and the ships, but they will not, disclose. So now the
Okay.
disclose has to come from other countries, Latin America, like Peru and Mexico. They're driving that disclosure process,
Don't you think
because
by the time they try to get this information go close, the CIA will destroy all this information or try to hide it somewhere else?
well, according to the Inkari Institute, there were attempts to try to recover these bodies, and destroy them. And we see kind of the hands, the fingerprints of the CIA in Peru as well. What they did in the Virginia case, what they did in the Colares with Operation Plate. They were trying, they're still trying to kind of stop this, NOMI, revelation from going mainstream. We see that someone is driving what the Ministry of Culture of Peru is doing, by legally trying to blockade,
There's some recent
institutions.
events in Las Vegas, and there's a lot of people saying they see aliens. There's two family. One recently, a guy on the news, a young kid, he said he actually saw alien in his backyard, and he wasn't making it up. And the news actually confirmed that there's something hiding there, and they showed like a different pic, and they can actually show a picture of an alien that was actually behind there. So like in Las Vegas, there's been recent event going on. People have seen stuff crashing backyard, and have seen aliens. Do you think like these aliens are the same one that we're talking about now, or these are like complete different ones?
Well, to be honest, I have a more scientific background. I went to college for 10 years. I have a degree in physics and philosophy with minors in, biomedical engineering and, with mechanical engineering. So I spent 10 years in City University of New York. So for me, I'm a very data-driven guy. Show me the facts, send me something that I can show to a judge, and he will be like. And I used to be in law enforcement for 5 years soon. So for me, I wanna have tangible, information that I can make, decisions with. As Dr. Rangel was saying in this morning's interview, that the DNA test is very important because it's accepted in a court of law. It's legally binding. Well, what are you talking about? The Vegas, alien, it can be very easily debunked, very easily dismissed, even if it's true. It can be very easily blown away. You go to a judge and tell, well, I have this and this, but I only have I only have this picture, this video, but no physical evidence. And that's what Discover Up has been trying to perpetuate. They want people to say things, but they don't want people to have the physical evidence to prove what they're saying. We can see that what happened, with.
But I have watched the news. The kid in Las Vegas doesn't seem like he was lying. Like sometimes, like most people, you could tell when someone's lying, but this kid was serious. He was honestly speaking the truth. Like I know this might sound weird, but like you could tell when someone's lying, you could tell when someone's telling the truth. And this kid was sure what he said, and he said he doesn't care if no one don't believe him. He's not here for attention. He's not here for publicity. He's not for money. He said he saw alien. His entire family said it. They saw it in his backyard, and he said he wasn't lying.
Well, I mean, that's one of the things that I see in the UFO community. There's a lot of, even if it's true, but if you show a video, everyone will always say, oh, like, oh, it's an effect of the camera. It's like something. So it's very easily to debunk. But when you have, radar telemetry, gun camera footage, you see, thermal and infrared, data, like we see with with a skinwalking ranch investigation. They have small slow motion cameras. They have they have a lot of evidence to show that something's going on. In the same case with Nimitz incident in 2004, they have eyewitness, the thermal imaging, recording. They have the spy radar, so they have a lot of evidence they haven't been able to debunk because they have a lot of evidence, hardcore evidence. But then we saw what happened during the Nimitz incident. The Air Force arrived, CIA arrived, and they confiscated, the radar recording, all the evidence except for the video that was later on leaked by by Elizondo, in 2017. Other than that, they will just say it never happened. So we see that Discover Up faction is trying always to get rid of the physical evidence that can be proven and analyzed by scientists.
So do you think scientists actually, when they go to scientists and try to bribe them, do you think some of them fall for it? They take the money and keep their mouth shut, or they stick to their word and they stay loyal to what they stand for, and they're gonna prove to the world these are aliens?
Well, unfortunately, it's more like most of them they they get seduced by the money, by promise of a new job. We see what happened to Dr. Kirkpatrick. He went for the easy money. He kind of sold his soul to the devil by promising a new job. Some people choose comfort, security, and over fighting for the truth. Most of them, they just go along with, oh, hey, or if money doesn't work, if they threaten their tenure, they threaten they intimidate families, they intimidate them. So very few people,
So
can
this
actually
is a
stand up by the
question
truth.
I'm gonna ask. So to prove to the world that these aliens are real, but don't you think it's gonna be a little harder because like the world's distracted right now? Everyone's in their own lane. Everyone's just busy in something else. When the like election is coming up, but don't you like? Do you think like these like? Do you think somewhere in the future these aliens will actually make a real life attack and really like not expose themselves, but they would come with their spaceship or something and attack somewhere and destroy something? Or they
Well,
will all
according to,
or they also want to stay under the radar and not get noticed. Which one is it? Like, do you think one day they're gonna come, not reveal themselves, but use their spaceship and make an attack, or they're always gonna stay under the radar?
well, as we see in Luis Elizondo's book and David Grush, they have already been in contact, with Truman, when they signed, agreements with these ET forces, there has already been contact, but that contact has been carried out in secret, under covers, and that should tell us something, why
What?
they're looking for so much secrecy. Why are they making secret agreements with a faction of humanity that doesn't represent humanity as a whole? If they had some benevolent intentions, they go to the UN General Assembly, right, and present themselves.
But
I know they're making secret agreements.
what do you think the aliens want with Earth when they're like if their spaceship is so advanced that their home world is probably 10 times, 100 times more advanced than ours? What do you think they want with our home world?
Well, as we can see in the colares incident, they want our resources. They want our biological resources. People in colares, what they were like, they would drain the blood out of them. They were getting tissue samples. So they
When you
want
say
our
natural
resources.
resources, when you say natural resources, do you mean like from humans or anything they could find natural resource that could benefit them?
Well, they want everything that our planet suffers, including us. They want
But here's
our
the thing:
resources.
if they have advanced technology, why don't you think they just kill us and just take all our resource?
Well, that's a good question, and if you ask, people have different theories. What we have really clear is that Elizondo, David Rush, and the other people in the know that represent the disclosure movement in the government or behind closed doors, they know that there's something going on, that we should wake up. We should make the world aware that we're facing this illegal contact that is making some agreements on the dark with the specific characters of our societies, but they don't represent the best of humanity. So
Do you think these aliens have plan for humanity?
well, I'm sure they have plans, but from what we're judging, let's put into context what's happening with this contact. They are making secret agreements with humans. They don't want to be seen. They go along with the ICAs and the Air Force cover up. So that should tell us something. If someone comes into your house and doesn't want to be seen, instead of going knocking on the door and the front door and introduce themselves, they go around to your backyard and trying to hide themselves, trying to break into your house. That denotes intention. That's not a good. That's not a good neighbor that you have. When someone is stealthily flying into your planet, hiding underwater in the mountains. They have bases. That means that they don't have any good intentions for us.
You said so on the Polaris documentary. He said the aliens live underwater. How deep do you think these aliens live? Because it says that 90% of the ocean haven't been discovered yet. So how deep do you think in the ocean they live? Do you think they live deep, deep, deep down, like very deep, or like in the middle, from the ground up to the middle down to the ocean?
Well, according to what the admirals and other people in the Navy have said, that they have seen these UFOs or USOs going, very fast and very deep. So they have technology that will allow them to withstand a lot of pressure, so they can go to the deepest deepest, trenches of our oceans, because they have the technology, because they don't
Well,
want to be seen, and they want to hide.
David Cross said that he tried to shoot these aliens down, but they were too fast and they were going at speed beyond any spaceship they have. And these they can move very swiftly. But say if you how like do you think our weapons stand a chance against them what we have right now?
Well, for one, they're saying like like classical weapons, like ballistic weapons. Of course, they're not. They're too primitive for them.
Mm-hmm.
As we have heard, the CIA has developed some techniques to bring them down. At least the part of the CIA that's not part of the cover-up, because we have the CIA as a whole. Let's say 80% of the CIA, 90% of the CIA, they don't know what's going on. They're just doing their job. They're patriotic, but there's this faction, this raw, illegal faction that has a lot of power, a lot of money. So those are the ones driving the cover-up, like by recovering UFOs around the world, going into restricted, like conflicted areas and recover UFOs, going to governments and infiltrate their, military to keep this cover-up. So, we see that, and in Colares, we see all of this, everything collides in Colares. We see the CIA involvement. We see the ETs harming humans, at least killing 2 women. So, that's the reason Elizondo is sending us a message, even though he's not able to disclose everything he knows, he's sending us a message by putting Colares in the forefront of his book, in chapter 2.
Mm-hmm.
And what's about Colares, UFOs coming in and out of the, coming from the sky, going into the water, coming out of the water, going in the sky. So he's showing us what's really about the UFO presence,
Why
that
do you
they
think
come
the
from.
UFO? Why do you think the UFO live in water? Do you think that's more secure for them? Like they can't be fined?
Well, it provides a hiding place,
But
because
do you think they could breathe underwater, or do they live like in a house underwater or in their spaceship?
well, I mean, according to what I've heard from different, sources, they have bases, where, we combine everything, with the Nazca mummies, the hybrids, with Maria, we combine Colares, they take in, blood, from humans, tissue samples, they're going after them, and then so they're going a lot of, they have underground bases where they have hybridization programs going on, at least this hybridization program, thing comes from different sources, not just from Colares and some, unhinged, person. It comes,
How,
from abductees, accounts, too.
how do you think the aliens, the UFO, are gathering information on us through the hybrids, or do they do it themselves? Do they come like? Do you think they go at night, fly in the sky, and just gather information, or do they do it through the hybrids they have created?
Well, I mean, that's a good question. We can always hypothesize, but if you ask people that, that have been abducted, we can come down, to Colares now. Captain
Just
Hollanda, Captain Hollanda says, that he received a visit, of an ET being, where he was implanted with something in it, and he showed that he was actually the victim of the abduction, to be honest, because he had this dream or this encounter, but then he ended up with having something implanted in his arm.
I wanna ask,
So,
where do you think these men were when they got abducted? Were they all by themselves at night? Were they at a forest? Where were they? Like, where do you, if you know this information or not? Did they disclose like where were they going? Were they by themselves? Were they at home? Like, how did this happen? Were they managed to get abducted?
well, one of the authorities in, abduction is Dr. Jacobs with his book, Walking Among Us, and then Dr. Mack, who was a psychiatrist from Harvard. So those guys came to the same conclusion, that this is real. The abduction phenomenon is real, and with the declassified documents from the 80s, the ones that I published before, where it says that humans having brain damage, have radiation damage. Some women have been impregnated without their consent. So this is not just something crazy coming out from someone, like delusional. This is coming out from the U.S., a faction within the U.S. government. That faction that is fighting for disclosure, the 1,500 documents, released, in the past. They claiming, yeah, we have followed 40 cases, 52 cases of humans that have actually have encounters with these creatures, having heard, and some of them, especially women, have been impregnated,
And I heard that once these women get impregnated, after a couple months, the baby would go missing. Is that true?
Well, some of them, we see, with missing 411, with people that disappear, in national parks, people go missing, they think they run away, but they're not actually never seen again. So we see a lot of people disappear, nobody knows what happened to them, in very suspicious circumstances, So, there's something going on here, but we just at the beginning of getting like real answers,
Okay. I'm finished with all my questions now, Jose. If you like, you could go ahead and talk.
Yeah. So what struck you more about the Colares, documentary
Well,
that you
just
saw?
watching it, just watching it gets me scared. Like I'm gonna be honest, I'm 50-50 about it. Like I said, and I'm not gonna lie to the audience. I want the Nasdaq mummies. I believe I saw the evidence. Like these scientists have proved the Nasdaq mummies are real, which were definitely aliens because they had 3 fingers, 3 feet. They were just beyond this earth. But the evidence right now that Palash is trying to prove is like something crazy. Like audience to believe this is mind blowing. To believe there's like aliens under the water and they're creating hybrids and they're coming to infiltrate the earth. That's like crazy. That's like something in the movie. So of course, like it's hard for people to believe and people to process it. But I have seen like admirals come forth and they have shown the ship, right? So there are alien ships I have seen. So that makes me 50-50. So I can't say it's a lie. I can't say it's a truth. But then I just came up with the hypothesis, what if someone just take these ship and they engineer them to look like aliens to trick the US that there was some type? These are all hypotheses. But while watching the Polaris video, a lot of stuff on in my mind, a lot of fright. What if it was true? What if it's all made believe? Who to believe? What to believe? Which God is real? But yeah, while watching the Polaris video, it changed my view on life, and it just got me scared. That's about it. And it talked about the reptilian creatures, how the aliens might have genetically engineered them, and it kind of makes sense because the aliens have technology that can genetically engineer anything. So that gets me wondering about God, Jesus, was he an alien, the Hindu gods, everything in the universe. After watching the video, it's a video I think people should watch, but I believe a lot of people just won't believe it because people want actual evidence. People just don't want word, but like I said, I'm 50-50 and the video is very scary.
Yeah, well, that's what I think. Most people are like that, That's why the Nazca mummies, are very kind of like very difficult to debunk, to just get rid of because they represent physical evidence,
I mean, I don't think the scientists will lie because they all said it's real. And I believe the Nazca mummy is real. But the new theory right now, the aliens underwater, like I said, I'm 50-50. It does sound very scary. I want to believe it because I believe there's something out there. There's something like no, people are not gonna lie. People all over the world are saying they're seeing something out there. Like people, like I said earlier, people in Vegas said they saw aliens, and the kid was so sure he saw it, and he was like, he's not here for publicity. He's not here for money. He's not for fame. He know what he saw, and people could believe what they want. So, like I said, there's something out there, but I don't know which theory to believe.
Well, that's a side effect of the disinformation campaign that
Mm-hmm.
David Rush has warned about. The government, let's not call it that. The cover-up faction has thrown a lot of money into polluting the water, releasing ridicule and polluting the making the water so muddy that people they don't know what to believe anymore. But I guess what the Nazca mummies and the Colares case that they're showing more physical evidence. And in colares, there's some
Well, I
medical
start to
evidence.
sorry to cut you off again, Jose, but I believe I agree with you. There's evidence coming day by day because every day people are saying they're seeing it. The same story that the one person had, the other person had, just like in Vegas. Other family said they saw something crash in their house, and when they looked, they saw aliens. And recently, the same kid I was just talking about recently, he said he saw aliens. So every day, more evidence is appearing, and if what you were saying is true, the government won't be able to hide it anymore.
Well, yeah, and that's the goal. We have to go around the mainstream media because the mainstream media sadly has been compromised. Has been infiltrated. So we have to go around. We have to do like a grassroots effort. That's what we're doing with the Twitter, with Facebook, with Instagram, with TikTok. So we're going around the mainstream media to kind of like spread the word. And that way we wanna bypass that media that has been compromised already. And that's why it's very important that we read Elizondo's book, because he's giving us what he knows. At least he's hinting us what he knows that he cannot disclose, because there's a lot of NDAs that he cannot violate. But he's being very courageous. Some other people just not deal with it. They will just keep quiet, go to their lives. But these guys, Elizondo, David Rush, Chris Mellon, Admiral, the Admiral, Admiral, like those guys are coming forward and say like there's something going on.
I
So
agree with
we
you.
just
There's definitely something going on. And I have seen the proof like to say something's just going on, but like I said, I'm 50-50. But every day there's proof coming on. I said the exact same theory you're saying about the aliens and stuff. But this is a scary time we live in. But there's something going on. 100% agree with you on that. But how advanced do you think the alien technologies are? Like, what do you think that makes their technology different from us?
well, they're very advanced, because they come from space. They can go from the space, atmosphere,
Okay,
the
when you say come from
ocean.
space, can their ship go? For they told in school, I was told for us to go like that planet to Mars or Venus, it would take us like years. So how fast do you think their ship is? Like, is it like the speed of light? How how do they get here? Like, do they tell how does their ship get here? Like, how do you think?
Well, according to David Grush and other guys, they they're not violating the speed of light. They just kind of like going around the physics. They're working with new physics where they bend space and time around their the gravitational field of their ships. So they're using advanced technology, but in no case they're violating the speed of light. They're just going around and kind of like just using physics that we don't understand yet. But they're just advanced beings, with advanced technologies. And we shouldn't. Elizondo is not claiming that they're like angels, that they're like
Mhm.
paranormal beings. He's just hinting us that he says in his book that the hypothesis that most fits the bill is the extraterrestrial hypothesis. He started by saying in the book, "Oh, this is non-human intelligence," but later on he said, like, if we look after all of this, we look all the data, the hypothesis that fits all the bill, fits with what we're seeing is an extraterrestrial hypothesis. Because Mellon has said, that he has access to sensor data, the space, with satellites. They said there's evidence that these things come from space. They come from outer space. And they go and hide in the oceans and the mountains.
Okay, I believe it. Admiral Byrd, a respected admiral, said he wouldn't make the lie up about Antarctica, and I'm pretty sure the whistleblower, especially for the Navy, they would not make a lie up and just go up to Congress to just say they know what they saw. They said they have seen a spaceship that looked like UFOs. It was beyond this world technology advance. I believe it, but like I said, I'm still 50-50, but I know there's something out there, and everyday evidence is turning up to exactly what you said about the aliens. But as time go, I feel as time go along, only time will tell what's true, if it's true or not. But you're pretty sure this is all real. But like, do you have like solid concrete evidence to prove to the world, like to get them to be like get everyone attention and be like, yeah, I think there's something out there. Like instead, like people are coming every day to realize there's something out there, but how do you get the entire world to see there's something out there?
Well, I think the physical evidence that we have is Alaska mummies. To be honest, that's the one, that's a smoking gun that they were not able
Mm.
to recover, quote unquote. They try, according to Terry Jamin from the Inca, like Inkari Institute, the CIA and the U.S. government, they tried to get rid of that evidence, but then again, it was not discovered by a governmental body. It was not discovered by the Ministry, of Culture of Peru. It was discovered by the tour. For better or for worse, that was good for us because he didn't went to the government to say, "Oh, it was found." If that had happened, we never have heard of the Nazca mummies,
Okay.
because David Grush has tell us that some of the UFOs and some evidence of ETs have been recovered from archaeological findings we never heard of. That's the reason we never heard of, because the U.S. government, the CIA, got to them before it was known to the public. But the Nazca mummies kind of slip out of out of their hands, fell out of the cracks, because the tomb robbers, instead of going to the Ministry of Culture, they went to the Inkari Institute, to Terry Jamin's institute. And Terry Jamin, instead of going, he make it public right away. That's one of the things about Terry Jamin's brilliance, that he started putting online right away. And that's how the news went around the world. And that's how Mexican biologist, he got involved, because he starts seeing that these pictures and these videos online, like, what's this? And then he was the one that told Jaime Maussan, and Jaime Maussan contacted Gaia, and then he started rolling. The ball started getting bigger and bigger, and by that time, the CIA couldn't stop this from getting to the public. But they try, and they still trying. That we see that that someone is buying bodies from Mario, someone is buying objects from Mario, private collectors, quote unquote, the Russian, that they say, the Japanese, the Brazilian. Okay, I mean, if they are buying these bodies, this evidence, they're trying to destroy it. They're not buying it to be displayed, to be studied. They're buying it to be destroyed, to be concealed, to be sequestered.
Okay.
So, the best, the smoking gun that we have is the Nazca mummies, to prove that we
Okay.
have some visitation from ETs in the past, that we still some visitations now going on. The question is, are those groups from the past the same as the group that we're seeing now? Seems like not, because in the past they were very open to be seen. They were not hiding. They were having interaction with humanity, on the open. People paint them in the stones, in the metal sheets, in the textiles. We see the Nazca lines. We see the the geoglyphs, all over in the Andes. So they were not, covering their presence. But now we see that it's the opposite. This group is making secret agreements with the special groups in our planet. They're
Okay.
not want to be seen.
Okay. So
So,
for
but
you have answered almost all my question I had for tonight. So you can ask me any question you want now.
so yeah, I mean, like, now with the Nazca mummies, we're seeing, that we have physical evidence, but then again, we see that we're divided still. That the UFO community is divided. Like the English speaking, UFO community, the Latin American community. But now through these efforts, we're trying to bridge that gap. That even though the main, the most famous guys in the ufology in the U.S. and in the English speaking world, they don't want to touch, still most of them, they don't want to touch the Nazca mummy topic. Even though they know that it's going on, they're trying to ignore it. It's like this Netflix series, Don't Look Up, where even if they see that a meteorite is coming, they don't want to look up, because they don't want to see the 300-pound gorilla in the room. But then
Oh.
now with this new DNA test coming out of Canada, now it's gonna be more difficult to ignore it. You know, they're gonna have to face it now. Now the Jaime Maussan is trying to get involved with a UAP caucus in the U.S. Congress. You know, through meeting with the senators over there. So now it's gonna be more difficult. But I think it's the UFO community. You know, has to be able to kind of spread the word, share the videos. You know, kind of like make it more accessible to the non UFO Twitter. You know, general public. You know, we have to be able to actually donate money, like the new institute. You know, with lawyers. You know, Daniel Shiham is trying to raise funds so we can create a bigger UFO, UFO, activism, groups, or with Dr. O'Connor, Richard O'Connor, that he opened a GoFundMe to get money to do more tests, DNA tests on the mummies. But yeah, but we see that now, even if you have the money, through the Peruvian Minister of Culture, they're trying to legally prevent these scientists and these institutions, international institutions, from doing more tests on these mummies. They claiming that they belong to the Peruvian people, and they kind of hinting, if you do some more tests on these mummies, or if you get involved with these mummies, we want to take legal action, against you. So these institutions are kind of having second thoughts. Should I get involved with these mummies, investigation, or should just don't have anything to do with it? So we see a lot of power, a lot of hands trying to stop this disclosure from happening, catastrophic disclosure. That's the real disclosure that we need. We need catastrophic disclosure. It cannot be managed by a specific government. It cannot be dictated by a specific organization. It should be catastrophic. So it be on the open. So we don't have any management of the evidence, We don't have any managed perceptions. We see what it is, so we can make decisions as humanity as a whole.
Okay.
So yeah, and we can talk a little bit before we wrap it up. We can talk about, the book of Elizondo and how, it was quote unquote leaked, but to be honest, most of us already paid for it, in advance. Like we already paid, I still wonder why they have to respect a date, what's going to happen before that, why he doesn't want to release it, like it's already, been paid most of the time. Just have some people paid already and just, read it, but something they want to, something, about that date that they don't want to be released before that date,
Okay.
But yeah, like today I invited a lot of people to join. Some of them bail out the last minute. So there's still some stigma, that people, they want disclosure, but they don't want to do the work, It's like this, Marines saying that all the people, all the soldiers, all the Marines want to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die. That kind of thing. Everyone wants disclosure,
Yeah,
but they don't want.
I was a little scared to show myself on YouTube too, to talk about these stuff. So yeah, I don't understand where they're coming from.
Yeah, that's one of the things. But we should make ourselves, be seen. Like when we went to Senator Schumer's office here in New York City. We went, and they were like people were expecting 100 people, but only a couple would show up. But still, that was the beginning. We have to do the boots on the ground. We have to be more proactive. We have to be more willing to spare $10 to go to finance more DNA tests. We have to be able to kind of sign the petitions that the new Paradigm Institute is promoting. The UN petition and the US petition. So we should be more proactive, and spare $10 to donate to Dr. O'Connor's GoFundMe. If you want disclosure, you have to make some efforts, some sacrifices. Donate $10, $20. We're thousands of people in the UFO community. We're thousands. If only we, every one of us would donate $1 to the new institute, new Paradigm Institute, or to Dr. O'Connor's GoFundMe, we will raise a lot of money, and then we can finance more testing, finance the travel of more scientists, so we can actually become a real force to be reckoned with. I mean, it's good to be in UFO Twitter talking all day. It's good, but we need to take action too. We need to share the videos. We need to spread the word. We need to spare some money to go.
I agree.
We need to put our money where our mouth is. Like be more visible, show up for rallies. That's how we're gonna start making a dent in this disclosure, bill, by being more vocal, by being more visible, by not be afraid of showing your face, but not being afraid to show who you are really, in for Twitter. Just come to the open. Don't be afraid. The more we people are not afraid to show up our faces, to show up to rallies, to show up, to donate money, to go fund means like Dr. O'Connor's or to the New Paradigm Institute, the more we will start being forced to be reckoned with. Do you have any closing statements? So we can.
Well, I have no closing statement. I hope to join you again, and like I said, I wanted to get to the bottom of this, and I just want to learn more about these aliens, and I like learning, but I feel like there should be more solid evidence. There is evidence out there, but like like I said, the alien engineering one, there's some evidence out there, but like I feel like sooner or later, if this is real, people will get more solid evidence.
Yeah, and that's good. How do we get more solid evidence? We get more solid evidence by being more proactive, more a visible activist force. We should be more active. We should actually be equivalent to what Greta Thunberg is doing with a climate change initiative. We should be more vocal. We should be more knocking the doors on our senators. Sending letters. Like financing scientists to do the tests. Be more. Like be more active. Not just on Twitter. We should be more. Like now, Dr. O'Connor is telling us that if we want this to happen, we should start sending letters to the Ministry of Culture in Peru, which I'm gonna do. I'm gonna start writing a letter. I'm gonna send it directly to the Minister of Culture in Peru. So I will write a letter.
Do you think they will take this letter serious?
Well, at least when they start seeing, like, let's say 50,000 letters coming from the US, from Canada, from Australia, from the United Kingdom, they were like, what the hell is going on? These guys, they're not easy to kind of like just shunt and just blow away, because they're gonna start feeling the pressure. When you start like calling them, when you start like sending letters, they're gonna say, oh, there's something's going on here. So once we start seeing that we're taking action, that we're sending letters, that we're funding research, that we spreading the word through the alternative media, to Twitter, Facebook, then it will start kind of making a dent, and more people with the general population will start hearing from it. So it's up to us to actually make things that we get a solid evidence, that evidence that still exists. We finance that test, and we finance the travel, and and the living expenses of scientists, so they're not afraid of losing their job. Even if they get reprimanded to lose their job, they still have some finance coming up from us, from the UFO community.
Okay.
So with that, we wrap it up.